have the refuge and everything in Chenrezig, so it's really fine if we don't do it. We don't spend any more time battling along today. But what I want to say to all of you is today I want to look at the dreams of clarity, the clear light dreams in the practice of Tibetan dream yoga. What I thought of doing was I want to give you a couple of things, and then I want to take it into the practices that we should do. But you know what? I'm not going to rush anything, because I think it's really okay if we take another session or we don't take another session, we go on to something new. It doesn't really matter. It seems to me that Guru Rinpoche gives me enough material all the time to, to bring you other things, but I don't want you to rush. What I want at the end of these sessions is that everybody actually, that you're all able to do some dream practices. So what I wanted to do after we finish the teaching is to actually do a whole lot of dream practices for all of you to do before you go to bed and during your sleep state. I want to give you a whole lot of options. And then you can take it off the YouTube if you want to. Also, I'm going to use a lot of the things from Natural Liberation, Padmasambhava, and I'm sure, behold, Karen will have this on computer if you want to get it. But really, you should have this book called Natural Liberation, Padmasambhava's teachings on the 6 bardos, and all the dream practices are the other ones. I've got a whole lot of others as well, but all the important ones are in this book. And I'm absolutely sure, Karen, have you got this on computer? I'm sure you have. You've got everything else. Okay, well, she'll tell us later if she has. Otherwise, it's really a book you should have, because, yes, she's amazing. So if you want it, just put your email address. Hello, Eckhart, I didn't even know you were there. Put your email address up on the board, and she will send it to you by computer, and then you can get all the practices out of there as well, which is really important. So today, to carry on with our dream stuff, I want to go back. Sorry?
I just want to mention that I've got the dream yoga books as well, if anybody wants. So, yeah.
Fantastic. You are the resource library.
And, and a hard copy. I mean, all the hard copies. That one actually survived the flood. So I'm saying some of the hard copies I must just like organize to donate somewhere. But anyway, yeah.
It is amazing. And I can't stand it on computer because I can't stand reading on computer. So wherever I land up after I've sold my house, I'm going to have to take all my books with me, because I just can't. I need to read books with books. I can't read them on computer, but I think it's amazing.
That's what I do on a tablet. And then it is so easy to...
I must look at that.
I mean, bigger than a Kindle. That's what I do, you know, and then, yeah.
No, that's absolutely amazing, and you're such a wonderful resource. So this short prayer is really a very important one. We did it before, and I want you to use it. It's Dajjam Rinpoche's prayer. If you can put that on your phone, Nick, that'll be wonderful, because this is the prayer you should definitely say. You don't have to say it before you go to bed. You can say it during the day, but it's short, sweet, and actually says everything you need in the dream yoga. So, Nick.
Okay, give me 10 seconds. I'm going to mute and I'll find it and put it on.
No problem. She's doing it all on her phone for me while Bern's away, so that's wonderful. We really appreciate it. Otherwise, I'll just say it if we can't. Just give her a minute. Okay, while we're waiting for that prayer, I want to say the next thing I want. Oh, there we go. So let's just say that little prayer. It's really a good one. Yeah, there we go. So this is Dajjam Rinpoche. the essence of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, it's called. And it goes like this, say it with me. Essence of all Buddhas of the 3 times, Lord of oceans of Buddha families and mandalas, precious, incomparable, kind, root Lama, think of me. Bless my mind stream, I pray. Grant your blessings that I recognize dreams as dreams. Grant your blessings that I emanate and transform appearances in dreams. Grant your blessings that dreams arise as clear light. Grant your blessings that clear light blends with every aspect of life. Thank you, Nick. Now, that little prayer says everything, and you don't have to do that right before you go. You can actually do that at any time of the day, but it really says everything. You know, Dajjam Rinpoche was often very, very, very precise and everything about all that he said. And that's that incorporates all the types of dreams and everything else, short and sweet. The other thing which you really need to do, and I want you to sit in a meditation posture, is the 9 purifications breathing. Now, a lot of you might do this already, and that's fine. But I want to make sure that you really understand this practice, because this should actually be done when you wake up in the morning. And it definitely, even if you can't do it, I don't always do it when I wake up, but I always do it before going to bed. I sit on my bed in a meditation posture, and then you do the breathing through the 3 columns. So listen carefully, sit in your meditation posture, and we're going to practice it. Let me just give you a bit of background to it. Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche says, perhaps you've noticed how much tension is carried in the body and how the tension affects your breathing. When someone with whom we are having difficulties walks into the room, the body tightens and the breathing becomes shorter and sharper. When we are frightened, the breath comes quick and shallow. In sadness, the breathing is often deep and punctuated by sighs. And if someone we genuinely like and cares for enters the room, the body relaxes and the breath opens and eases. Rather than waiting for the experience to alter the breath, we can deliberately alter the breath to change our experience. Okay. The 9 breaths of purification is a short practice to clear and purify the channels and relax the mind and body. Sit in a cross-legged meditation posture. Place your hands palm up in your lap with the left hand resting on the right. Bend your head just a little to straighten the neck. Okay. Visualize the 3 channels of energy in the body. The central channel, it's very thin, it's only the size of a cane, okay? The central channel in your body is blue, and it rises straight through the center of your body. It's the size of a cane and widens slightly from the heart to its opening in the crown chakra. So it kind of got an opening at the end into the crown chakra, and then it's a full cane, okay? The side channels are only the diameters of pencils, and they join the central base they join the central column at its base, about 4 inches below the navel. So feel 4 inches below your navel so you can see exactly where the other 2 channels join the main channel. Okay. They rise straight through the body on either side of the central channel. They curve around under the skull, pass through the eyes, okay, and open at the nostrils. So you can imagine these 2 channels. In woman, the right channel is red and the left channel is white. In men, the right channel is white and the left is red. Now, if you look at these 3 channels, okay, the main channel, the neutral prana for you to be at peace and be able to cope with everything. In that, neutral prana runs in the central channel. It's where the primordial consciousness is. Hasn't got duality, hasn't got problems. It's actually your central channel, okay? And that is where your non-dual energy runs, okay? In men, in women, on the right. So feel your right-hand side, okay? The right is where, in women, the right channel is red. Now, the red channel is wisdom prana, not the non-dual wisdom, but this channel on my right and your right, and on Eckhard's left, that channel has got wisdom energy. So that's why, whereas this channel on your left-hand side, okay, the channel, the left, which is white in woman, has got all your rough emotional prana. So in other words, all your hassles and all your negative emotions run in that channel. Now, when I go to sleep, I always go to sleep on that way. And I always tell my husband to go to sleep on that way, because you're blocking those rough emotional prana when you sleep on your right-hand side, because you're blocking that channel. Okay, so if you understand that on the opposite for you, Eckhart, but that is where all your trauma, your emotional negativities run. And this is where you have wisdom, but not non-dual wisdom, but this channel's okay. But we don't want the energy to be running wild in the left-hand channel and the right-hand channel for men. We don't want that to happen. We want to bring the energy into the central channel. And that's why it's very important to do a little bit of shamatha before you go to sleep. So you stabilize it, and then you do these 9 purification breath. Okay, I'm going to do it for women first, and Eckhart, you do the opposite. So I want you to raise your left hand with the thumb on your ring finger. So put the thumb on your ring finger and block your left nostril, okay? Then the other one, you've got the right finger, you're taking your right thumb and your right finger, and you're going to be able to use this over here. Opposite for men, okay? Because you first want to breathe in, with women, closing this left nostril where the negative energy is. So what you're doing is you're going like this, okay? You close the left nostril, you breathe in green light through the right nostril, so you get a deep breath. Doesn't take long when you know how to do it. It's just me explaining it that's taking long, but it's very quick. So you take a deep breath through your right nostril. Then you block the right nostril and you breathe through the left nostril. You're breathing out everything through the left nostril, and you're letting the air pervade your whole body with the ring finger, and you repeat this for 3 inhalations and exhalations, okay? And you remain totally calm, even if you forget most of this. To do this before you go to bed sets the energy into the central channel, because when you do that first one of blocking the left nostril, you blocking the right nostril for a man, and taking it and then, oh, excuse me, to breathe in through your nostril and then breathe out clearly 3 times, okay? And what that does, when you exhale with that, you imagine all the obstacles of the rough prana, the male potencies expelled from this white channel in the form of light blue air. It doesn't matter if you don't remember all of this. Just remember that you're expelling all the energy. You're breathing in through the other channel and you're expelling all the energy. And those illnesses that we have associated with winds, you know, the wind energy, the wind digestion and all of that, as well as obstacles and obscurations from the past, are cleansed when you do that breath. So you do that 3 times. Then the next 3, swap. Okay. Now you're taking Now you're taking the opposite, and you're taking your right nostril and blocking it, and you're breathing in through the left nostril, out through the right nostril completely. You should blow your nose before you do that, okay? But you're breathing out 3 times, okay? And with that, you are expelling the feminine potencies from the red channel. He says, in the form of light pink air. To me, it doesn't matter what air you do. And these are all the illnesses associated with bowel, like the liver diseases and everything, as well as obstacles and obscurations in the future. So when you cleanse those channels, you really are again clearing out your channels, which is such an important thing of the dream practice. And then finally, the last 3, you don't use your hands at all. You leave your hands on your back. Everything is absolutely straight. You must have your spinal column straight. So sit up in your bed before you do this, before you even do any of the practices you're going to do, and inhale green healing light. I don't mind if you do blue healing light, it doesn't really matter, but you inhale, you go through you go through healing light with both nostrils. So you visualize it moving down you first inhale the green air, and then you exhale it. You can do it through your nostrils. And what you're visualizing there is, you are visualizing the energy rising in this non-dual channel, okay? And you are thinking all the potencies associated with hostile spirits are expelled from the top of your head in black smoke as you're healing in and you're healing out. And these include illnesses associated with phlegm, as well as obstacles associated with the present. So you're doing 3 of the first one, 3 of the second one, cleansing the 2 side channels, and then 3 of the third one, going up and down. And now, and the phlegm, all the coughing and everything that's gone on with this COVID, you're clearing the channel with that. And now your energy, you visualize your energy centered in the central blue channel. And this is the energy of primordial wisdom, Rigpa, pure experience. Now, it doesn't take long. I'm just giving it to you with all the details. But when I sit on the bed, it really takes me about 2 minutes, if that, to just do my very quick. You just do the 9 breaths. And you can read about this if you want, but the thing is, I mean, I could photocopy it. A lot of you have got it from your dream yoga retreats that you did with me, but we can copy this. I can ask Bird. I'm sure that she's got copies of this so that you can read it through. But the important thing is that you clear the channels. That's what you want to do. Okay. So that's your most important practice, so that you are stable. And then if you want, after you've done that, you could just sit for like 2 minutes of shamatha and just focus. It's very difficult when you've got a husband or a partner in the bed, okay? It's difficult because, I know often Joss wants to talk to me, but when he goes and takes the dogs out for a wee and everything, that's when I sit on my bed and I do all my dream yoga practice, all the things I want to do, and I prepare myself for bed. And the television should not be on. You should not switch the television on and then go off and then go to sleep. That's putting yourself into samsara. It's like a beautiful preparation that you are doing before you go to bed, thinking to yourself, I have all these hours when I sleep every night, maybe some sleep less like me, but I have a lot of time to do my practice. And your dream should be your practice. Even now when I'm not in retreat, I dream and then I go off in the dream body and then I come back. Then I say, remember this, Melanie, because you're teaching the dream yoga. And then like on the weekend, I had this dream where on Friday night, where I woke up, I actually woke up. I don't know if I'm physically awake or not, but I wake up and then I go, oh, that was the Dharmakaya. And then I'm back to sleep and then I go, wake up. Oh, that was the Sambhogakaya, you know, and then the Nirmanakaya. And I go, remember this, remember this. Well, that's my way of interpreting. All I can tell you is that I know where I am when I'm doing it, but when I want to put it into physical words, it's really impossible. And as I've told you, or when I'm on retreat, especially at Taisitu's monastery, I don't know which are dreams and which are real anymore. I completely mix them up, and the one goes into the other, and I don't know who's visited me. I have so many visitations in my sleep states, which are the dreams of clarity. And I don't know if the people really came or they didn't. I just don't know what is this dimension and what is that dimension, because it just blends in. Now, this is the whole idea of the dream yoga. So let's remember today that when, I'll give you a chance to question, when we arrive at Tibetan dream yoga, we want to use the dreams to liberate ourselves from all relative conditions, not just to improve them. Remember that, okay? Because you need them, like we told when we talked about samsaric dreams last time. Those samsaric dreams are very, very clear, because what I said was, so Tibetan yoga, dream yoga, does start with the samsaric dreams that we spoke about last week, and you can go back if you missed it onto YouTube and get it. We can improve all the relative circumstances of our lives through our dreams, but all the time, while we are examining our shadow sides, our hang-ups, our neuroses in these samsaric dreams, we keep bearing in mind the same stuff. These are temporary, illusory, dreamlike circumstances, dramas of this temporary, illusory life. And though I need to burn these karmic imprints, and I can even do them during the dream state, there is always that full Buddha mind that is not impacted in any way by these negative creations of mind. And try, when we stop this, to go back over the material. That's why I've recorded it, so that it's there for you. You can go back anytime, or you have a dream and you want to find out something, it's all there. See that you've done all 5. And also, what I'm doing on a Tuesday night, it's very interesting because I don't plan it this way. But what's interesting for me is that the 2 sets, I'm on about stage 4, part 4 of the Tuesday night, and it corresponds very well with the dream stuff, because you're trying to understand that all your absolute pains, your hang-ups, your neuroses are all temporary and transient, and the dream yoga helps you to realize it. And for me, last night, as I was walking up my staircase, I go and put the dogs to bed, and then I come up the staircase and it's dark. I've switched off all the lights. Joss is already upstairs, and then I go up the stairs. And as I'm going up the stairs, I'm going to myself, you know, this house, it's all temporary, transient, impermanent. Where I live is impermanent. Whether I teach is impermanent or not. If I record, it's impermanent. Whatever I do, it's all impermanent of the temporary dramas of this life. And soon it'll go to a dream. Like people say to me, do you remember this and this and this and this? Well, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. You know, sometimes people phone me and I haven't seen them for a long time, and I've actually forgotten them completely and totally. I want to say, just remind you, and they're going like, but you knew me so well, you know, okay, have you forgotten me? Because you just delete like a computer, you delete the past, you delete it. Even if you do this with your family, you say, these are my children, these are my grandchildren, none of them belong to me. This is all temporary, transient, impermanent. I can enjoy them, I can give them the love, I can finish what I have to do, but it's all going to end. temporary, transient. And listen to those material of both. And then you do both the waking state on these neurotic tendencies and the sleep state on the samsaric dreams. And together, both should help tremendously because the samsaric dreams get to the roots of our imprints very directly, as the examples I gave you. You can see exactly in your dream state what it is, especially when it's repetitive. And then you've got to look at it. And someone texted me late last night and said, Melanie, I just can't get it right. I found myself shivering and trembling in the company of this particular person at work, and I just can't change it. And then I sent a message back. It was already late at night, and I said, yes, you can. Okay? This is just the karmic imprint you carried. And this karmic imprint is not permanent. It's not you. It's just part of your temporary life. And yes, you can. But remember, the habitual momentum is so great that it comes back again. And it's really, really difficult to stop yourself. But as soon as the mind knows, as soon as intrinsic awareness comes into the picture, which is what we're doing at death, which is what we're doing in life, which is what we're doing when we dream, when we go to sleep. As soon as intrinsic awareness comes, then you know that this is not you. It is not permanent. And that's what the Tibetan dream yoga does, loosening you all the time. And Namkhai Norbu says about Tibetan dream yoga and the practice of the natural light. I'm quoting him. In a real sense, he says, all the visions we see in a lifetime are like the images of a dream. If we examine them well, and lots of us don't, the big dream of life and the smaller dreams of the night are not very different. We must see the essential nature of both, no difference. He says, if we can finally liberate ourselves from the chains of emotional attachment and ego by this realization, we have the possibility of ultimately becoming enlightened. But remember, and remember this very, very clearly, that we have the possibility, but we have to know that this is not you. We have to know that we can change this at any given moment. We have to know that it's a habitual momentum and we're going to go back. So we have to see that the I, the me, the ego, okay, the ego has got its agenda. And the ego will go back, even in your dreams, in your samsaric dreams. The ego will go back and it will try and stand its ground. And you'll go, I can't take this anymore. I just can't. But what I'm doing with people all day, every day is I'm going, somebody told me about a relationship that they were having. And when I looked at this, I saw this was the same mistaken relationship as the last person that this person was involved with. And so when this person explained to me the problems of the partner, I said, this sounds like a familiar story, okay? And now what you've got to do when you see something repeating in your life, you've got to look at the dreams and you've got to look at what is being shown to you. I said to her, well, your next piece of work is to look at what you've got. We've discussed what the relationship is about. Now let's look at what is being shown to you. Now in your samsaric dreams, it's shown to you in a most amazing way, directly. There's no bullshitting around in the dreams, nothing. So shamatha is great to practice day and night to stabilize the energy winds and for the prana not to run into the white side left in woman channel which is where the negative, rough, emotional prana runs. And we have karmic prana when the mind is unstable. And I repeat that. We have karmic prana, karmic energy, when your mind is unstable. When is your mind unstable? When you're thinking, oh my God, look at this. What am I going to do about this? What am I going to plan about this? How am I going to manage this? When the mind is going, the unstable emotional prana is running. And when the prana is running, your mind is upside down and you are going to fall into those traps again. And if I do anything, I'm listening to Samantha Bhadra by Kienzi, Dzongsa Kienzi. And I mean, I'm listening to the aspiration. And so when he says, don't make an aspiration for this life, make it for all times, then I'm sitting in my shrine room and thinking, what is my aspiration? Because in your dream state, your aspiration is one of the most important things to get you onto a higher level of dreaming. So I thought, what is my aspiration? And I thought, my aspiration is that I need to bring this truth to all sentient beings on all different levels, on the animal life, the insects, the ants that I mistakenly didn't, let die. I mean, every single one, I was thinking, that's my aspiration. So as soon as I die, I'm just going on with that aspiration straight away. And it's the aspiration right into what the purpose of my life is for. So if I can't give it to you so that you can change your lives totally and utterly, that's all I'm interested in now, in my whole life, is changing people to get another view. If I can't do that, then I have failed hopelessly. I'm not just teaching and leaving it. I'm teaching and I'm going back, poking, doing this to everybody. I'm doing so many things like that to people, and I'm being absolutely brutal because I'm saying, you've got it. You understand this. Stop doing it now. Stop. Wake up. Wake up from the dream. Okay, and stop. And so the karmic prana is when the mind is unstable, and the wisdom prana, the other side, is when you are stable. So the most important thing is to keep your mind stable. If you see you're a person who is organizing everything, analyzing everything, working everything out, picking up all the things that have happened to you, then you know your prana is unstable and the karma is going to be running in it. This is so important when you want to do real Tibetan dream yoga. And once the energy is stabilized, then we're able to use Vipassana to gain insight. But let me tell you something, real Vipassana, I mean, you go to all these courses and they tell you, looking in. But you've really, really got to understand what you are looking at. How did I get to be like this? How did I get these imprints? How come I'm having that repetitive dream? I made sure with my repetitive dreams, which were all about ego, okay, I make sure now that I'm looking at myself. If I see even an ounce of ego, I'm fix it straight away because I can't have any more of these bashes again. I must accomplish what I've come to do. And so must you. And if we want a very simple focus for the dreams, okay, we can just use the Tibetan letter R. Now, if you look on Karen's picture, what she's got there is your most important dream symbol, okay? That R, colored by radiating light, that R, you take it in your heart. And once you take it, it's the creative force. It's like the syllable, the seed syllable, from the essence, out of which all the beautiful color arises, out of which everything, and I'm going to give you one practice, a very simple practice that I use, which is really beautiful, starting with that I in your heart. Okay. And when you see that it is a creative force that creates all these things, then you know that you can learn to manipulate and transform dreams. At night, all night, we can use the daytime phenomena and through our imagination, transform all that we perceive as a practice for the night. So if you're in your dream and you are being chased and you are having a nightmare and all of that kind of thing, if you are doing that, you can suddenly, if you're aware and if you've got that intrinsic awareness and you've got that lucidity, you could say, but hang on, I'm Chenrezi. Hang on, I'm Tara. Hang on, I'm Guru Rinpoche. Okay, you can say that in your dream and change. You can change. You can become a beautiful quality of something you really respect. And then you can turn around and face that demon that's chasing you. And we can also imagine traveling to Pure Lands. I was thinking this weekend, so I would like to create a Pure Land where everybody who's lost can come, and then I'm going to teach them how to deal with their losses and with all their stuff. You can create a Pure Land and go there in your dreams. We have that ability. Most of life and sleep and death for the majority of sentient beings is looked at relatively. From karma to samsaric dreams to unconsciousness at death, when you don't know what you're doing at death, because we're afraid when our conditioned relative mind dies. We just don't know. So what do people do? They faint. Okay, they faint. Instead of opening their eyes and seeing where they are, they go into a faint because when they see all the color and the brightness and the lights and the everything, they don't know anything except their conditioned mind. And so there is some method in dealing with life and dreams relatively, of course, but we remain bound to the wheel of life that is the base cause of ignorance, ignoring the truth. So yes, let's clean up our act relatively, but don't wait for that to happen before seeking the ultimate. See, barked at the truth. So anyone want to ask or say? I've given you quite a lot here. Maybe I'm rushing, but you can listen again and just get that. But what I'm really important is for you to actually understand who you all are. When I look at your little faces, how they're listening and concentrating, I'm so delighted to be here. I'm so thrilled that I can do something, that might change your life. Tell me, talk to me, speak to me, say what you want to say, anything you want to say. I really get that in this group, a lot of people are not talking because they haven't got things to say, but they're absorbing, like as Gail said, we're absorbing, we're taking it in, we're trying to understand everything, But you can ask whatever you want. And you can go back to whatever you want, because I've tried to give you the whole array. And then I'm going to give you the practices, and we're just going to do dreams of clarity.
I wanted to say it's very hard to uncondition your mind when you've spent a lifetime of being conditioned. What would you suggest is some exercises to help do that?
Now I'll give you an answer that Samsar, I love it when he answers the questions of people. They come up, he was in Vancouver. And so I watch on my little video, all the people that come up. And I know Vancouver well because my daughter used to live there, so I went there often. But they all come up and they ask questions. So this one guy comes up. Now, it's near the end of a day. He's taught a hell of a lot. He's now going to do a refuge ceremony and all kinds of things. And he's tired. I mean, he's 62 or whatever old he is. And he's tired, so he can't do long answers. So I killed myself laughing, Galen. It's such a good answer what he said. He said, this guy comes up with all his philosophy. Okay. Then he quotes this guy in American history who said this and this. He quoted Churchill. He quoted this one. He quoted all the different philosophies and their great wisdom that they gave forth and everything. And then he asked in the end, he quoted all these kind of things in quite a long thing, and it should have been a much shorter thing. And then in the end, he said, so is what you're saying that we should give up all this philosophy? So he answered with one thing, yes. That's what he said. Yes, give it up. Give up the philosophy. Give up the rationale. Give up all your other rubbish that you do all the time. You know, he just said, yes, give it up. Because you know what? Look, it's like I'm saying, when I was walking up the stairs, and like I've been often thinking to myself, oh dear, what when we sell this house? Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? You know, we've been in this house for the last 20 years. Like it's really difficult to think of where will be my shrine room, where will be this, where will be that. And my husband says, he's probably the more Buddhist than me. He says, we don't talk about it. When it happens, we'll make the decision. I go, no, I've got to get my mind around it, okay? But I decided to, which is our conditioning, but I decided that if I start saying to myself, the Tibetan yoga practice, this is all temporary, this is all impermanent, I'm not going to be here for good, this is just part of the long dream of my life. And when you surrender it like that, it's amazing. And so you start to bring in the practice of the impure illusory body. Now remember that what I said, the impure illusory body is not only your body, it's everything in the environment, the house, the tea, the books, the everything. That's your impure illusory body. And then you've got your pure illusory body. Both are illusory. The pure is the deities, is the qualities, the pure qualities, but they're still illusory. Now, your beautiful friend Linda, who comes, she's in London at the moment. So Linda texted me last night and she says, she and Yvette were having this discussion. And Yvette said, and she said to Yvette, but Melanie said in her lecture, you know, can you imagine how many times I cause karma by what I say? But anyway, she said, Melanie said, Guru Rinpoche doesn't really exist. And Yvette said, well, if he doesn't exist, why should we do the prayers to him? They were having this debate. So she sends it to me. Okay. She sends me this WhatsApp text. I answered her yesterday. So I said, listen carefully. Guru Rinpoche exists and he doesn't exist. Because if you look at him, yes, there was someone in the 8th century, definitely, who came in and brought the Buddha Dharma and brought Vajrayana. But what you've got to understand is that that being was just an emanation from Amitabha's Dharmakaya in order for our being. So did he exist? Yes. On a relative level, he existed. On an ultimate level, no. Because one day he's wrathful Guru Rinpoche, and one day he's peaceful Guru Rinpoche, and one day he's a beggar in the street, and the next day he's something else. He changes because he emanates different appearances. So on the one hand, from a relative point of view, when you want to make the prayers, yes, he does exist. But on the other hand, you need to tell yourself, but he actually exists inside of me. So actually, he doesn't exist he's a pure illusory body, which you learn in Tibetan yoga. He's a pure illusory body. He's a pure feature, but he's still illusory. He's going to go back and he's going to emanate in millions and thousands of different things. So when you understand that, you understand the existence and the non-existent. Yes, there's something there. And Zongsa speaks beautifully, he speaks about this dream, a nightmare, when you're falling from the 26th floor of a building, you're sweating and you think it is, but then you wake up after a while and then you say, oh, thank goodness it was a nightmare. He said, but if you lucid in your dream, then you can go in and you can actually say, oh, there's my friend on the 22nd floor as I'm falling. I think I'll go and visit him before I fall. You know, he says, you can do whatever you like. You could say, but it's all illusionary. So what am I getting uptight? Even if you were falling, let's say an aeroplane crashed, what would you do? Would you, when I was once in an aeroplane, near Montana, and I was sitting with a girl next to me, and the pilot said, listen, there's something very wrong. The wheels are not coming out, and there's something very wrong, and do not get a fright. He said, just brace yourselves, go into the brace position. And this girl sitting next to me, it happened like that, you know, as usual, said, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Then I just turned and I said to her, is that helpful to you? It's really not very helpful to me. Why don't you hold my hand and just ponder the fact that this life is so temporary, so impermanent. So what you've got to prepare yourself now in these moments is that if the plane crashes and you die, you must be ready. You must know that's just a temporary. You can't sit there in the mud like this and know and say, because it's all a dream. That's all it is. And if it's you've got to go, you've got to go. Now, I know this is shocking. It's shocking, but we have to do it. We have to know it. So when you say, Gail, how can we train when the conditioned mind is so strong? You train, you sit and you do your shamatha and you're looking in and you know, oh my goodness, I've got this intrinsic awareness that knows. And as soon as your mind, I said to this guy yesterday, as soon as your mind goes back to pick up your fear, think now, but you're not a child. When you were a child and you had very difficult people you didn't have any resources. You were petrified, but now you've grown up with resources. So why are you reacting in the same way? Why are you allowing yourself to react, going back and picking it up, and then saying, oh, well, Melanie's right. She says, I shouldn't be thinking about this. I didn't say anything of the kind. I said, look at it and see that this is just temporary, transient, that this is not you. And when you see this, you start to let it go. Why am I hanging on to something that is not permanent and that is not me? And that's how you start training the mind. And like I said to you last night, walking up the stairs, I said, well, it's all temporary. I walk into the shrine room and I said, well, it's all temporary. Wherever I am, I'll build a shrine room, or I'll give myself a shrine room. Wherever I land up, I'll give myself a shrine room, you know. So don't attach to all these things. Any other questions or anything you want to say? I don't know why I'm teaching so many things.
Well, I did something very easy to change conditioning and still do it, is just look for your mind.
Good. Look
So,
for your
as soon as there's a thought, then there's no thought, because we aren't thoughts. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, but it's actually a very...
If you do it as a practice, not just explain it like that. So in other words, if you practice when you're doing shamatha and when you're doing vipassana, and you say, well, where is my mind? You know, that's what is my mind? Is it me? Does it have a color? Does it create things? What is this? I'm looking deeply, but I'm first stable. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And people can do that. But now, after all these years of the Dharma, for a lot of people, we must wake up. Don't you agree, Karen?
Yes. And there's a book that I'm reading. It's been trying to get forever, and finally I got it. It's called, see, I'm bad with names. The Kissing of the Sun and Moon.
Wow. Okay.
Of of the 17 tantras, and it's so Chris Williamson, but I mean, I can send it to Gail. It's so easy. As you read it, everything is you know, it's where we come from, who we are, what we are, the conditioning. I'll send it on to Gail. It's just everything is contrived, uncontrived.
Amazing.
And yeah, like from the ah came the ha. I'm not even going to go more. And then you just go, aha, you know. But everything is there without even, so that automatically, I'm saying for me, just changes or reinforces what we know already and what I believe Gail and all of us know already.
Yeah, it's so helpful. Thank you. That really is helpful, Corin. And you know, Gail, like often
Yeah.
I look at myself with all my kids, grandchildren, and everything. I was always explaining myself. And it's such an interesting thing because that is your human mind explaining myself. You know, when I say something and they disagree, then I'm explaining to them. And it's so interesting now because when people give me their suppositions of what they think I am or what they think I believe, doesn't really make an ounce of difference. It's just in that subtle change of not needing to defend yourself because the ego needs to defend itself, you know. Just do me a favor, Corin, when you send to Edith, just send her a couple of things, but start with the easier ones, because I'd prefer you to do, she's got that in her for sure, but it's easier just to send her not the very complex Dzogchen things yet. Let her just find her bearing. Okay. Now catch that message there.
I mean, I think she's for the dream stuff, so that's quite what you're doing.
And that's easy. And send her Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche, which are really good. Nicola always likes teaching from them. And, you know, and so I think that we can, if we go back, we look at the samsaric dreams, they are all the little imprints from previous lives. And like Tenzin Wangyal says, we go to sleep and they're like a photograph that gets developed while we sleep. And eventually we want to have it all gone. And that's what we were talking about last time. But just let's quickly talk about the last two categories. Doesn't matter if it's not quick. I want to do at least a couple of practices today. I actually thought I was going to go much further today, but it really doesn't matter. Whatever I feel, whatever is coming through me seems relevant to what we're talking about, but stop me if it isn't, please. I'll be so happy not to give it more. Is it relevant what I've been saying today? Okay, that's good. So the dreams of clarity are the second type of dreams. And this is where we start to have lucid dreams. Okay, and the creation of the dream body. Okay, now the dream body is a very, very important, it's a very important thing, your dream body, because people ask, what is the dream body made of? What do you mean with the dream body? Now, the dream body that we use in our sleep state is actually made up of the mind and the energy. It's part, you know, we've got in ourselves a subtle light body. Okay. Now, the dream body is also a subtle body. It's not the same as our physical body. It's a subtle body. But the difference between the dream body, I mean, the dream body is as close to the Sambhogakaya as you can get, but it's not the Sambhogakaya. But when they try and equate the dream body with anything, it's very, very much connected to the Sambhogakaya. You know, the Dharmakaya is the essence. The Sambhogakaya is that beautiful light body full of rainbows. that doesn't operate on this level, that operates on Sambhogakaya level. And then from the Sambhogakaya comes the Nirmanakaya when you're enlightened. That's the body that the Buddha presented himself for in this dimension. But it's a pure body, a pure illusory body. But what's very important in this, I'm just trying to find my notes on it all. What's very important is that you see that it is a light body, a subtle light body. But the difference between the dream body and the Sambhogakaya is that the dream body still carries some of our karmic imprints. So it's still stamped with some of our things. So like when you're in a lucid dream, you know, your karma, your stuff will still be associated in the dream body. It won't be completely pure in the dreams of clarity. You can have amazing dreams of clarity, but it will not be 100% pure. It'll still have a little bit of our attitudes and our karma and everything which is attached to the dream body, but it's made up of the mind and the energy. So it's still a subtle light body, but it still carries with it some of the karma that we have. But when I first went into the dream body, I remember my very first dream that I had in the dream body was that I was on the top of the wall in my bedroom. And then I could see my body down there, you know, I could see my body down there, but I still had some fears of flying out of the window when I started. I still had to teach myself to fly and not do it with fear or anything like that when I started with the dream body. But the dream body is very, very interesting because, you know, because it carries some of our things, it's not in the beginning entirely able to just act like a real higher, subtle body. Do you all understand that? So it's really important. So when Charlie Morley does all his things on lucid dreaming and Stephen LeBurge, it's really good for you if you're not awake in your dream, go and read up some of the lucid dreaming stuff. But always remember, I mean, Charlie Morley, you know, does it with the Tibetan dream yoga slant. So I like his stuff very, very much. But when you read Western lucid dreaming, I think they have a completely different purpose. It's supposed to be like to help you in your life, to understand your relationships. It's got Western psychology aims to it. But lucid dreaming in Tibetan dream yoga is entirely different because it's in the lucid dreaming is to help you to overcome the limitations in your physicality and to try and then go beyond to luminosity, to liberation, to everything. That's the difference between Western and Eastern lucid dreaming. But there's no harm if you're not awake in your dream to using some of the techniques that Charlie Morley teaches beautifully, like e.g. keeping a dream journal, which I told you should really do, keeping a dream journal, noticing your dream signs. So like if you're flying, you know that you're in a dream. That's how you develop that lucidity. And certain things in dreams, like he explains that, and you can get it. There's also that lovely manual. He did a manual for all of us on lucid dreaming, which is a beautiful thing. But you can just get his book, which also has all of it on lucid dreaming. But when you understand what the lucid dreaming, it's to be completely and totally aware in your sleep state. And some of the things, like, for example, you can't look at your hand twice in lucid dreaming. Or, for instance, time is completely different. So that would be a dream sign. As soon as you're looking at time, you know you're not lucid anymore, because lucid dreaming, you can't look at time. There are various dream signs You know, I can go into a few if you want, not now, but there are lots of dream signs and dream symbols that you can get to know that you are lucid dreaming. But it's wonderful when you lucid dream, because unlike the samsaric dream, in which the mind is swept here and there by karmic prana, in the dream of clarity, when it develops, the dreamer is more stable. Now, I never learned lucid dreaming. I mean, I think it's lucky that people have got things to learn. I just was lucid dream from the time I ever started dreaming, not from a child. I do remember some dreams from a child, but I just automatically loved dreaming and automatically became lucid in my dreams often. Sometimes I'm not. And also there's something called a witnessing dream, which is a dream of clarity, but you're actually watching the dream, but you have no need to intervene in it. You have no need to change it. You just want to watch. I'm doing a lot of that witnessing dreaming now. I just have no desire to go and change it and sort it and all of that kind of thing. I just let it happen. But that takes a lot of time. But in the dream of clarity, the dreamer is more stable, okay? That's very important, and that's why we did the stabilization of the energy. The dreamer has developed the capacity to remain in non-personal presence. The dream of clarity is much purer and less deluded than the samsaric dream, in which meaning is projected from the dreamer onto the purity of fundamental experience. There still can be dualistic engagement in dreams of clarity, but they are purer. Okay, it's really important. The consciousness here is not bound by time or space or personal history, and we can meet with real beings. As Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche says, some Tibetans work with dreams throughout their lives as a primary form of communication with deeper aspects of themselves and with other worlds. Now, when I was looking through my little dream journals, I threw all the others away of the samsaric dream. I saw this dream where I was reading a lot of Namkha Norbu, and then I was in this dream, a dream of clarity, and Namkha Norbu walked in. And I was totally aware, and I said, oh my goodness, I must ask him about this, about this, about this, about this. But he said nothing. And then we were in this little room, and I was lying on the one bed, and he was lying on the other bed. He was in white clothes, and he just reached out his hand, and I reached out my hand, and he was obviously giving me some kind of transmission in the dream. But I knew, so in the dream at first, I thought, yay, now I can ask him all my questions. But then I was able to see, no, this dream is not for that. And then I could just hand my hand out, and he could put my hand on top. And when I woke up from that dream, I knew that a transmission had been given to me. So it's kind of, there's a little bit of still knowing, but in the dreams of clarity, we can receive omens, prognostications. You know, we can get a feeling from those dreams. Oh my goodness, I'm about to go through quite a hard time in my life. You can get that. Then when the hard time comes, you really are prepared for that completely. So you can have prognostications. You can feel that something's going to happen while you're dreaming. You can have past life dreams. You can have spiritual teachings, lineage teachings, guidance, warnings, meetings with beings from other dimensions, diagnosing and healing of illness. I'm going to give you a lot of examples of these dreams. Discoveries, rescue work, and general help to others. I mean, I did that from many years ago. I used to, if somebody died, and people ask me now, you know, would you be able to go to my mother? And I go, no, not at all. I'm absolutely not able to go to your mother. But if your mother comes to me, then I'll know she's your mother, and I'll do what I have to. But when I wasn't that aware of I was aware I was doing it, Many people came to me after they died. And I used to help them to go to the light. Many, many dreams. I'll give you some examples if you want, but a lot of you have heard those examples, but really very, very interesting dreams with people and with bereaved people where they are not getting what they need to get. So I would have those dreams and visits to Buddha fields and wounds in your psyche to overcome emotional blocks. And all these tasks are best accomplished when you are lucid. And don't mistake samsaric dreams for dreams of clarity, because you can't wish for a dream of clarity. It's got to be a dream of clarity. And I want to read you lots of my dreams of clarity that I've had, where I've really understood things so clearly, especially when I'm on retreat. But I don't want to give you all the examples because it's already 20 past 11. I think that we should do some practice. And I think that, and also give you a chance to ask. But I think in these dreams, when you are awake, it can be superbly helpful to us. Superbly helpful to help us mend that conditioned mind from keeping quiet. It can be absolutely amazing what you get in your clear light dreams. You know, when I was on retreat, I was doing this particular practice of the clear light during the day, where I would see all the rainbow light and stuff like that that Taisitu gave me. And then when I would go to sleep, and sometimes I'd have a sleep in the afternoon, just for 20 minutes. And then I'd get an unbelievable explanation about what I had been doing, and I would see it very clearly. So you can use your dreams to really go beyond this, to really understand things, to really know who you are and where you're going and what you have to do. I have hundreds of dreams with Lama Yeshe Rinpoche. I used to have hundreds of dreams with Akon Rinpoche. I'll read you a couple, very interesting. And one amazing dream just after Akon Rinpoche died. Okay, he came to me and I really realized that he was coming in his Dharmakaya, and it was, share the name of what? Oh, Karen. Okay. And so you can have the most amazing dreams, and you can really come to terms with things when you have these dreams of clarity. And I'm going to read you a whole lot and a whole lot of, I mean, people, I'll just read you one and then we'll go on to the practices. One not of mine. The recovery of Gelongma Palmore. She was a Buddhist princess in ancient India, contracted leprosy, had to isolate herself and prayed all the time to Chenrezig. One night, after many years of going through this terrible leprosy, she dreamt of a white being who appeared and poured a nectar of light on her body with a bumper. That's a ceremonial picture. The next day she awoke and was healed, and her mind was healed. Unbelievable. I mean, these are the dreams. Also, a Lama from Tibet became sick. He took many medicines and prayed for healing. And one night, Matra Rinpoche, his source Lama, appeared as if physical, told him to open his mouth, place something on his tongue, and he was completely healed. And just to give you one quote, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, the poet, wrote, "What if you slept? And what if in your sleep you dreamt? And what if in your dream you went to heaven and there you plucked a strange and beautiful flower? And what if when you awoke you had the flower in your hand? Ah, what then?" Now, many of these lamas have the objects of their dreams in their hands when they wake up. That's how they both actually, you know, work together. So next week, I thought we were going to finish today, but there's no way. Next week, I'll give you all the examples of the dreams of clarity, and then we'll just explain what the clear light dreams in. That's when there's no content, but you know you are awake in the clear light. I'll explain those, and then we'll spend the rest of the session with all the different practices. Then you can decide which you like or not. Okay, any questions, any comments of how I'm doing it? Would you like it in any other way? And are you understanding what I'm saying? Anybody not? Anybody want anything? Eckhart, do you want to make a comment? You're quiet. You haven't been with us for a long time. Don't have to. Anyone? Are you all okay? Okay. Then let's do a couple of practices. So let's start off, go into your meditation posture. Okay. And I want you to just do shamatha for 1 minute. So I want you to breathe in and breathe out. Bring your mind to the present moment. The past is gone, the future hasn't been made. And you are here. You are sitting in your bed. And it is just before you enter your beautiful, sacred sleep state. What a beautiful time. I shall go into the sleep state and I shall dream real dreams of clarity. And I shall know that I'm dreaming. Allow everything, all the tension to go out of your body. Bring yourself back. As soon as your mind goes off to things, bring it back to the present. Then you can do this earlier in the evening when you're taking your shower, when you're getting ready for bed. You don't have to do this sitting. But again, recognize the dreamlike, illusory nature of life until some recognition begins to manifest in dreams. And do your reality testing. Is this real or unreal? Reflect on the illusory body, which I did in earlier sessions. Everything in this whole world is just a temporary, transient. Is there something there? Yes, but it's just interdependent. Jack, stop it now. Jack, stop. And just breathing in and out. Reflect on the fact that whatever you see in your mind, whatever you see in your daily life, is all just interdependent causes. That's all. They are, whatever you see is just an absolute interdependent causes. And if one of those causes are not there, it just dissolves. Reflect on the illusory mind and the personality. This personality that I have, is it me? Is it just the way I am? Is it in alignment with who I really am? Reflect on that illusory mind and personality. This is the personality. Look at all the masters. They come in different personalities in each lifetime. There's nothing permanent. Reflect on the illusory state of the world and phenomena. The whole world is changing. Now it's at war. 6 months ago, there weren't such intense wars that we're watching. Look at the whole state of the world and all the phenomena in the world, and see that all the phenomena are really temporary, transient, impermanent. and see that phenomena are impermanent and allow them just to dissolve. And time and space, the illusory nature of time and space. See how there isn't really time. What happened yesterday could have been hundreds of lifetimes ago. What's going to happen tomorrow, you may be in another life. There's no real time and space. Sometimes you're in a cupboard and it feels spacious. Sometimes you're in a spacious thing and you feel claustrophobic. Keep reminding yourself that you are dreaming up all your experiences, the anger, the happiness, the fatigue. Look at all your experiences, insubstantial, impermanent, and just related to the mind's projections. That human mind projects all kinds of things. When you've got an angry person, comes from your imprint. You projected the angry person that is in your life right now. Everything is illusion. Prepare for your sleep with unhurried behavior in order not to disturb your channels and energies. And then start with your beautiful 9 purification breaths. A woman putting their left hand with the thumb, we won't do it now, but breathing in the right nostril, breathing out the left nostril, clearing the channels until you come to the last 3, where you're not closing the nostril, you're just breathing in both nostrils and breathing out, and you're letting go of all obstacles and letting go of absolutely everything. And now your energy is in the central channel, the blue channel. And this is the energy of primordial wisdom. This is the energy that can see everything as it really is, just as it is. And what is very, very important at the beginning of your practice is that you set the resolve. The aspiration is one of your most important things. So you want to give rise to the dream body, and you set a strong motivation or intention to awaken lucidly within the dream and to be fully conscious within sleep without disturbing your sleep. Make that intention. So we do the following chant several times to make an imprint on our consciousness. May I awaken within the dream and grasp the fact that I'm dreaming, so that all dreamlike beings may likewise awaken from the nightmare of illusory suffering and confusion. May I awaken within the dream and grasp the fact that I'm dreaming, so that all dreamlike beings may likewise awaken from the nightmare of illusory suffering and confusion. You get to know it, so you just do it very easily. You don't have to read it. May I awaken within the dream and grasp the fact that I'm dreaming, so that all dreamlike beings may likewise awaken from the nightmare of illusory suffering and confusion. That is your bodhicitta, your intention, that everybody should wake up and stop suffering. And that intention is absolutely vital. It's very important that you have that intention, because without that intention, you really can't. And you do it every single night that you have the intention to wake up within the dream, to create the dream body. And it doesn't matter even if you don't do that, as long as you do something giving you the full intention. And then I'm just going to do one of Guru Rinpoche's exercise. This is not before you go to sleep. This is perhaps when you're showering or bathing during the day. He says, fasten a very clear mirror on a cubit-high post in front of you. Bathe yourself and look at the mirror image of your form, adorned with ornaments. Praise it and so on, and see if there's a mind state of pleasure or displeasure. Like often when you look and you go, oh God, look at those fat rolls. Oh, look how terrible I look. Oh, look how awful I look. Sometimes you say, oh, look how nice I look today. If there is, think to yourself, each time there arises pleasure due to the praise of this body, which is like a reflection in the mirror, you are confused. This body is simply an appearance due to an aggregation of dependently related causes and conditions, but in reality, it has never existed per se. Why do you grasp onto it as yourself and take pleasure or blame or feel awful about it? Meditate for a long time on the reflected body in the mirror. And I'm adding to that, especially if you're well and you're healthy. Actually ponder how fortunate and blessed you are in these karmic circumstances to actually have a healthy body that can take its time and really become enlightened. So then after that, which I can't do now, we're going to do things with the speech. We're going to do how you can dissolve with the elements dissolving like you do when you're at death in a short place. You're going to do various practices that he gives and see whether that doesn't, even the practice of imagining yourself as Chenrezig or Guru Rinpoche or Tara or whatever as you go to sleep. Just remember two things and then we'll do it next time. Number one, if you want to have clear lucid dreams, visualize the deity in your throat. If you want to have clear light where you're just absolutely aware without the dreams, visualize in your heart. There's a big difference between those two. So in the beginning, if I were you, I would visualize as you go to sleep on your right side. I would visualize Chenrezig, Guru Rinpoche, Tara, whichever deity you are familiar with and you love, in your throat, and you just go to sleep having said that intention with the illusory nature of everything, and you go off to sleep. Then I will give you some of the dream yoga practices next time that you can, dream a lot more lucidly. Okay. I don't want to do it in too much of a rush because then you don't do it. But you can take Padmasambhava's book, and it's got many of the practices in the book in the dream bardo, and you can get that from Karen and practice it. And also, this is what I take to bed every night. As you can see, it will always have number one, my dream practice. I took it out of my room. Will always have this there, because when I'm doing my dream yoga practice, then I have that in front of me. And I have all the other things. And in my dream practice that I do every night, I've always got a picture. I've got a picture of the Guru and a Vajrayogini, because Vajrayogini is one of the beings that you can use when you're doing it. So I always have this picture in front of me in the eye before, and then I'm asking them in aspiration to please help me to be able to be lucid in my dreams. So I always keep these two pictures in my, the Guru and one of the Dakinis. The Dakinis hold it in my pictures of my dream yoga, and then I keep this in the drawer. Whenever I go overseas, I also keep it. I take it with, and then I've always got it in the drawer next to me, which is really important. So let's dedicate. Doesn't matter. You don't have to worry, Nick. Let's just dedicate to all sentient beings. We'll just do Sonam, and then I'll switch off. And then if anybody wants to ask me, they're very, very well. Okay? So let's dedicate to all sentient beings, especially the ones going through nightmares of life, torture, terrible things, wars, loss of many family members in Gaza, the hostages, all the people that are going through an absolute nightmare. May they awaken within this dream, and may they know that this is temporary, and especially those that have died in terrible states, may they also know that that state can be left behind. It does not have to be carried over if you understand that it's temporary and transient. Sonam die tamche zipane topne nepe dranam pamshene chegana chi balak tropaye sipe sole doa dro warsho. Sorry, I wonder why. Always so much